Well, good evening. Welcome to lesson 188. The peace of God is shining in me now. And before I start this lesson, I just wanted to go back to yesterday's lesson, not to recap the lesson or anything, but just to talk about that idea. I actually got this when I finished. I pushed the thing to turn the video off, and then bing, this little download came in. But to talk about the idea that you give to receive, okay, and knowing what it is that you're giving. Because I've had a few people say to me, "Oh, I've got nothing to give. I feel empty inside. I don't know how I could give anything," and all that sort of thing. But it's in the giving that the proof of having is. Okay, now that doesn't occur by your own cognition of what it is that you are to give, how to give. You just have to be willing to give of yourself. Okay, when we do our meditations and our light sessions, it's the willingness to step in and say, all right, I trust that God within me is going to be the doer. God within me is going to be the giver. I just have to be willing to be used as that medium by which that can occur. And in that willingness, I will bear witness to the fact that there is something within me that can be given. And as I give it, as I pour out my cup is also replenished. So when we do a light session like the one we did the other week, and I made a little video about it for my Facebook page, just because it was a particularly powerful one. I was zonked for about 3 days. If you're from overseas and you don't know what zonked means, it means I was buggered, tired, worn out, absolutely gave everything, and it took 3 days to be replenished. Okay, and we call that a shift in consciousness, when there's the confusion that follows a shift and that disorientation, which was certainly the case. And but it's in that moment where imagine the scenario of a hands-on healer, right? And I know a lot of people out there are practicing hands-on healing and Reiki and all of those sorts of different things. There's got to be that first time where you lay hands on someone or you put hands on someone and you don't know what's going to happen. You do it in faith, right? You know that the power that is able to occur in that healing, you may have witnessed others doing it and all that sort of thing, and it's now your turn to step up. But there's that first time, and in that first time where you're willing to just step in and say yes, then what can occur is always going to be miraculous, because this is a journey into the sacred, or rekindling the sacred. Okay, so I just wanted to add that. So, lesson 188, the peace of God is shining in me now. Why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. Why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in them now. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. Light is not of the world, yet you who bear the light in you are alien here as well. The light came with you from your native home and stayed with you because it is your own. It is the only thing you bring with you from him who is your source. It shines in you because it lights your home and leads you back to where it came from, and you are at home. This light cannot be lost. Why wait to find it in the future, or believe it has been lost already or was never there? It can so easily be looked upon that arguments which prove it is not there become ridiculous, right? And that's where we do our meditations and the more meditative lessons, where we learn to still the mind, to still our thoughts and slip quietly between the gap between our thoughts into that gap, and whoop, there you go, into the light. Okay, if you've never had that experience, you need to perfect your meditation more. Okay, who can deny the presence of what he beholds in him? It is not difficult to look within, for there all vision starts. There is no sight, be it of dreams or from a truer source, that is not but the shadow of the seen through inward vision. There perception starts and there it ends. It has no source but this. The peace of God is shining in you now, and from your heart extends around the world. It pauses to caress each living thing and leave a blessing with it which remains forever and forever. What it gives must be eternal. It removes all thoughts of the ephemeral and valueless. It brings renewal to all tired hearts and lights all vision as it passes by. All of its gifts are given everyone, and everyone unites in giving thanks to you who give and you who have received. The shining in your mind reminds the world of what it has forgotten, and the world restores the memory to you as well. From your salvation radiates with gifts. From you salvation radiates with gifts beyond all measure, given and returned to you, the giver of the gift. God, to you, the giver of the gift, does God himself give thanks, and in his blessing does the light in you shine brighter, adding to the gifts you have to offer to the world. The peace of God can never be contained. Who recognize it within himself must give it, and the means for giving it are in his understanding. He forgives because he recognized the truth in him. The peace of God is shining in you now and in all living things. In quietness, it is acknowledged universally, for what your inward vision looks upon is your perception of the universe. Sit quietly and close your eyes. The light within you is sufficient. It alone has power to give the gift of sight to you. Exclude the outer world and let your thoughts fly to the peace within. They know the way. For honest thoughts, untainted by the dream of worldly things outside yourself, become the holy messengers of God himself. These thoughts you think with him. They recognize their home and they point surely to their source, where God the Father and the Son are one. God's peace is shining on them, but they must remain with you as well, for they were born within your mind as yours was born in God's. They lead you back to peace from where they came, but to remind you how you must return. They heed your Father's voice when you refuse to listen, and they urge you gently to accept his word for what you are instead of fantasies and shadows. They remind you that you are the co-creator of all things that live, for as the peace of God is shining in you, it must shine on them. We practice coming nearer to the light in us today. We take our wandering thoughts and gently bring them back to where they fall in line with all the thoughts we share with God. We will not let them stray. We let the light within our minds direct them to come home. We have betrayed them, ordering that they depart from us, but now we call them back and wash them clean of strange desires and disordered wishes. We restore to them the holiness of their inheritance. Thus are our minds restored with them, and we acknowledge that the peace of God still shines in us and from us to all living things that share our life. We will forgive them all, absolving all the world of what we thought it did to us. For it is we who make the world as we would have it. Now we choose that it be innocent, devoid of sin, and open to salvation, and we lay our saving blessing on it as we say, "The peace of God is shining in me now. Let all things shine upon me in that peace, and let me bless them with the light in me. So our thoughts that we've projected out, right? This is how mind works. You have the thought, you project it out onto the world you think you see, giving it a meaning as you do that. Okay? You look into your mind and you see fearful thoughts or thoughts you don't understand and thoughts you don't want, and you project them out there and then proceed to think they are out there because you've given them the meaning to be out there. Okay? In atonement, when I'm accepting atonement for myself, what I look upon becomes nothing more than a reflection of my own thinking, and thus I reclaim or I own or I recall to my mind my responsibility to my thinking, rather than projecting the power of my mind out there, making manifest whatever situation it seems to be confronting me, and allowing my thoughts to come home where they actually already are, because thoughts do not leave their mind. Do not leave your mind. Thoughts do not leave their source. Got that one out there. So anyway, that's a good one. So keeping the finger on the nose. All right. It's not someone else, something else. And remember, it doesn't matter how spiritual you get. It doesn't matter how far advanced you think you've come in this course or in any mind training or spiritual endeavor. The finger never comes off the nose. Okay, if I react to it, if I'm triggered by it, if I have a disappointment with it or whatever, it's easy to try and say, oh, that's me a long time ago. I used to be like that, right? That's separation. Remember, this is a singular journey, a journey to self, a journey where I'm not separate from what I think I see. I've given it all the meaning that it has for me, all those early lessons. Okay, so keep the finger on the nose and you'll be fine. Peace.